Hi everyone, so I'm going to do Madeline Soto part 4 today, and I saw that there was new body cam evidence come out. I think it was in my first read where I said they're holding on to some information, but there's going to be some surveillance that comes out, and I still believe there's going to be, and I mentioned about recordings, a little bit of online work, but recordings of what he'd done, phone stuff, and they've got more on that as well as what was not already known when I did part 1. So that's something I got. I also got in the previous reads that I know it was said that she was in the passenger side, but I said that she was actually at one stage put in the trunk, and she was unalived by that time by Stefan. So that's come out as well. And I also mentioned like suffocation, like my chest was heavy, couldn't breathe, and it's not formally announced, but they're saying that there was possibly the cause of death, the final cause of death being strangular, okay? And I mentioned that in my previous reads along with the symptoms I gave you, and it's sort of being the final straw. Now, I did take note of the timeline because they released a timeline and I took notes of that. I also mentioned in the previous reads that the timing is going to be essential in this, and that's what's really going to expose Jen Soto in terms of if she's lying, but also if she was there, and all about this we dropped her, etc. And I do believe that it shows that she is lying. I think she's also probably changed her story a little bit. What we know is that, by the way, can someone tell me when is he going to be called to face the sentencing? Because I believe the judges said he has to face it. So when is that going to be? I've noticed in some states they move quite fast on this. So I was doing a reading and I started recording the energy, not knowing anything, and before on the same day of the trial was beginning, on Wade Wilson, the Cape Coral killer, and I think I got his energy correct. If you're interested in that, I can just like put it up and maybe pull a few cards for his current energy and wrap that recording up. So if you're aware of that, if you're not even, and you want to see what I got, it was the Monday, the Monday, I'm not sure, was Monday the 10th or 12th. No, it can't be the 12th. I think it might have been the 12th. The trial started and I actually recorded it in the morning my time, which is evening your time on Sunday. Because I was just told his name and I looked up and then I read, just pulled some cards on it basically. It's really sad. It's really sad what was done to those women. I'll go into it if you want me to. If you want to see it, let me know in the comments and I'll post it. Remember, the more that say they want to see it, I'll be able to, it makes a validation to release it. The more likes and comments on videos and letting me know as a subscriber also helps me understand what you want to see. So just going back to that, sorry, what on earth was I saying? Yeah, they tend to go through sentencing dates quite quick. Like some are done the following week, like Wade's will be done next week, I believe, and some are done like they have to do it, I think, within 60 days or 30 days, and some are done like a month later. So I'm not sure, when is he due? Is it July or is it it's August, right? Or July? I can't remember. I dare say that a lot of people will be tuning into that. But yeah, so there's been validation in my reads, and obviously I also read did the mother know before anything was out. I also mentioned that the gran knows. I mentioned other people would have known. From what I understand is that Jen had told them to go to sleep to the room because she wanted to sleep downstairs because she could get better sleep. And because Maddie has anxiety, Stefan was kind of there. I also understand that there's roommates that rent out 2 rooms in the house. So I actually wondered, did Maddie have her own room or not, given that? And he had recorded her, which I said there was recordings and there's a lot more to come out about it. But what I mean is that he would sleep next to her because of her anxiety. Mention about anxiety. That anxiety, I believe, stems from her being, it's kind of PSD kind of stuff, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I wouldn't be surprised, you know. I think a lot of people might have missed the signs. What we need to know, peeps, is that our job, or people with schools or whatever job, is to report something that looks a bit fishy, doesn't look right, and it's law enforcement there to prove it. So, you know, if you're aware of something, don't feel like, oh my God, I have to prove it. No, you just have to say, listen, I think there's something weird. I think I am not sure. That's all you have to say. It's down to them to then prove it. Because I do think, well, look at readings 1 to 3 and I tell you why it was done. But again, also that camera footage recently released, did you see Jen just swaying, absolutely swaying? It was like, what on earth? But she was very forthgiving with the information. She was very confident about the information. It was actually Stefan that was kind of like, I'm just like in the background, I'm going to stay in the background, and then he'd do a little bit of talking. But he was very kind of on edge more than her. And she was very upgiving about the information, which was, but again, no emotion. And I'm not sure, as you look at the video footage, just behind Jen, kind of diagonally like that, okay, I'm not sure if that's the grandmother standing there. She looks like the woman that did the interview of the grandmother. So yeah, so in this read, what I'm going to do is, I'm basically doing this read because I think some people are saying Jen was gullible, and although there is this sort of ignorant kind of factor to her, this girl was going through this from the age of 8, and I just cannot, no, I just don't see, I think a lot of people miss the signs, and I don't appreciate, I don't know, like I've seen, is Jen just gullible? Jen was so gullible, and I don't like it. I think, you know, in the very least, even if she's not arrested for that because they can't get the proof, she's endangered her child and other people in different states. I'm not even in a different state, because I can think of one case of child endangerment and they've been taken. It's funny that when I think of this, I think of Summer Wells, and something else comes up in this case that reminds me of the Summer Wells case, even though I've not read on it. I was preparing to read on it a year or so ago, and I was getting different stuff coming in, and I can't remember what was coming up that I was feeling about this case tied in with Summer's case. I was shocked that they've not been arrested again, because we're not talking about, Summer's parents are not high IQ. There's a lot of signs in their interviews. And I don't think the best job is done there. But for this, you know, and the other thing is, this is not premeditated. He did not premeditate this. And we're going to go through the timeline and just actually look at that, because I think the timeline is going to confirm. But yeah, the mother knew, right? Whether she was there when it was actually happening and she was just downstairs, or she was out at work, she knew. They always say also the mother has that gut feeling, the mother has the instinct, something's wrong with their child as well. So we've not even included that. What I'm going to do is, I also think, I wonder if the police still have Maddie's phone, and if they do, maybe they've sent it off to a forensic tech person, and even if things was wiped off, I think there's going to be clues in that phone about her thoughts and what was happening. Now Spirit has reminded me as I say that. Was it, I think someone told me that Maddie said she wanted to go live in the woods. And this was the kind of energy I get from Summer. She just wanted to be outside, be free, and probably would have loved to just stay outside rather than go back home. So when I heard that directly, Summer came into my mind as well. And now Spirit, as I say about the phone, reminds me about the woods and reminds me how it's interlinked. There's another validation point here, but I just can't remember it. I can't read my writing, sorry. It's like the Mika Miller case. When I did her reading, there was a couple of other validations I forgot to mention that Spirit. One was the dates. In Sebastian's case, I was mentioning there's going to be a breakthrough of there's going to be a big media news case come through between the 25th and 27th. And I think it was 27th Mika, and I forgot to actually mention that in that read. But because I think some psychics take this interconnect out of, just really, they take the piss out of it, and I don't really like to mention all kind of interconnects. I hardly validate my readings. I mean, if you look at the Karen Reed case, I mentioned clearly in the second read, not a lot of people have seen it, that and I was actually waiting to see if it gets a lot of views, and it's got a fair number of likes for the views, but if it got a lot of views, I was going to do another reading because I've got a few questions, and I want to also tap into something around that. But I mentioned that the defense is going to be focused heavily on the digital data like text messaging, calls, web, that kind of thing, whereas the prosecutor's strength is going to be around the really tactile forensic DNA kind of stuff. And I think that might be the energy that they're currently in. But again, I am not fully up to date. So, and there's a problem with the Karen Reed case, which I also wanted to voice. There's a couple of problems with that case. But I'll leave it at that. And I also plan to do probably a live testing. I might schedule it because if anyone turns up, then we can have a chit chat, maybe pull some cards, and that will be a regular thing that we do. So yeah, I don't understand why she's not been taken in for child endangerment, but what I'm going to do in this read right now is I'm actually going to check what law enforcement, I wonder if they're waiting to gather a little bit more information to actually put it all against Jen Soto, But I do think that either way, child endangerment is there. And again, a very nonchalant, the mother is a very nonchalant. I'd love to know what Jen's background in terms of her childhood history is. But again, I also, I don't know, did any of you, have you checked out the read before this, which is on Soraya Ong, Aaron Ong, and what's her name? Nadia Cole. Have any of you seen that read? It's, I tap into their energy and I tap into his ex's either girlfriend, but the mother basically of Soraya's energy. And it's really also a bit strange of an energy, not necessarily to do with the case, but she is, yeah, it's like, it could be because she's just really young, but I find it a bit strange. So we're going to ask a couple of questions in this read, but I mean, for those that are saying she's gullible, she's just, I can see her being a bit like, okay, I've got off a heavy shift right now, I can't be doing with anything, I need to get my beauty sleep. Okay, I can see that, but still, especially if your relationship with this person is on off, you need to question why he's in and out. So let's get into the cards. I'm going to just turn off the fan a moment because I'm getting cold here, which is stopping me from smooth talking the past few minutes. So 1 minute. Okay, so I was just talking for 5 minutes and I was like, did I press on pause and record again? So that's good that I caught myself. So like, subscribe the readings that you do like, and let me know your thoughts on this. I mean, what is this? I'm also getting reminded that in the Suzanne Morphew case, there's someone still out there not being taken, which is interesting. Again, in that check the readings, I mentioned they need to get something substantially new that ties this with this. It cannot just be after the first arrest speculative. So firstly, with there being roommates in the, okay, I'm getting told, let's see if Maddie has a message. So if Maddie could say something through the cards, Madeline Soto. The other thing is, he didn't put her in like deep woods. It was like just around the corner, there's a little bit of a bush and it's an open field, which is really, really strange. And the other thing of validation is it wasn't done the morning, like I said, because I think her body had started this slow progress of decomposition. If it was done in the morning, it wouldn't be there. Remind me, I've got to go through the timeline that I did note with us. I wish I could understand these 2 points of validation from previous reads that I've got noted here. I can't. Okay, so Madeline Soto, a message from Madeline Soto. Message from Madeline Soto, please. Getting called to the animal deck as well. Message from Hierophant, Strength, Page of Pentacles. Nine of Cups. Lovers, Devil card. One second. Death in reverse. Message from Maddie. of Wands, Ace of Cups. I might try to channel her actually. Nine of Wands. Final, last. Getting told that this is really tricky now. And I'm just feeling it. That card there. Ace of Wands. And the Two of Swords. Okay, so I think here she's saying she's finally freed. She's freed from them. She's freed from him. You know, this is them and this is him. She's protected. Now, I know that the Archangel card has not come up, but she's filled with, there's love here. There's a feeling of love. And where she couldn't understand what was happening to her, she can now kind of see that. She did feel hurt a lot of the times. By that, what I mean is like physically hurt, you know, wounded. So, I mean, I think if she got to the age of 13, it was less around what I'm trying to say in terms of the wounded. But here, it's kind of like this whole ordeal has taken a lot of strength from her, but she's finally been freed. And freed of the toxicity of that relationship and him. There's movement for her to heal now, and now it's a matter of time because she still has that wounding. She is starting to see what has been happening to her. And she was kind of mourning her loss, not being able to get over what had happened to her once she realized kind of this had happened. Okay, it was very difficult for her to step forward to the light. It took a lot of strength, but then she felt liberated of this situation, was able to move forward to her healing. And now it's kind of like a matter of time for her to be able to see things clearly. And there's a lot of fear there. There's a lot of fear of how she, even on the physical plane. So just a second. From what she couldn't see, again, fear, it's just confirmed what I was saying. Yeah, not seeing exactly how she was actually imprisoned by what was happening to her. But she felt very hopeless within the situation. And it's funny enough, in some ways, she felt he was the only person that could save her in this situation. So I presume she felt fully controlled by him. Like, if he were to turn and have a good day, she felt like it would just be at his mercy, which is really sad in some sort of way. Wheel of Fortune, always hoping for the better days, but a lot of the time she was feeling alone, and it wasn't, you know, she was feeling alone. I wonder if she had a lot of sick days, or I think if she was sick, she'd even try to go to school. Yeah, confirming here. And just so that she wouldn't be around him. So that's a message from Maddie. Let's check on. Remember, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only before I go on to the next question. So let's check something, shall we now? Let's just make sure I'm recording. Got a bit OCD now. Okay, so I'm wondering, how's he feeling about this death penalty? Death penalty. So it's the 14th of June. How is Stefan Sterns feeling right now? His energy. Let's tap into his energy. Tap into his energy. How is Stefan Sterns' energy right now? I feel sick. It's blocked from moving forward. There's a bit of I guess isolating himself in a little bit. He's looking upon the past, okay? So he's trying to look forward. He's looking upon the past, basically. He's not looking forward into the past. He's trying to look at the past, okay? And I don't think he's seeing it in like nostalgic, happy memory kind of way. He's not like looking upon it in a trying to relive it. No, he's stuck in it. He's like eliminating his decisions and actions that he's taken, and he's regretting what he's done. And that's where he is in the current energy. So let's get a couple of more cards. So he has some regrets. I don't think it was meditative. The sun is my confirmation of that. And the moon is his fears that are hidden and not disclosed. There's more to come out. Okay, there's more to come out on this. The sun generally means that you feel good, but I don't think he's, in this, I don't think he's seeing the sun an outcome of that day of when he's going to get his sentencing. I actually feel like it's telling me he cannot see the sun in this case right now. In the justice of what is going to come through. And we get the moon, which is his subconscious fears, etc. I don't think he premeditated this at all, okay? Check the previous reads. All these kind of reads are in the psychic energy, cases, famous people, channeling, predictions folder. So let's look at his energy on, what day was it that she went missing? Was it the 26th of Feb? Because it was the same as Sebastian, the night, and it was her birthday, wasn't it? Was it the 25th or 26th? So can you show me his energy the night up until the morning? So during the period where he unalived her, how was he feeling? 9 of Cups. This is the birthday party. For me in this read, this is the birthday party. Wheel of Fortune. Things were in a good sort of it was a good time basically. 4 of Cups, and we've got the 3 of Wands, and we've got the Page of Cups. There's a lack of something here. There's a lack of again, I think Maddie was starting to speak up, all right? I mentioned it in my first read, I believe. And there was he felt like this was going to be, he felt the fear of like her starting to speak up, and being kind of, when I say moody, but basically negative, like trying to stay away from him in a shrugged shoulder kind of way. Possibly a little argument with the mother. I'm also getting the grandmother here, this party. Four of Swords, the Star, the Healing card, and the Nine of Wands. Ten of Cups. Split the deck. Two of Pentacles. He obviously had a choice. We know that he had a choice that evening. The thing is, people are focusing on, did Madeleine Soto know about the abuse? But what about the actual unaliving? Nobody's talking about that. And I do think she knows, like she knew. It wasn't like she didn't know what happened to Maddie and then she was missing and then they found her body and she was like, oh my God, what happened to her? No, she knew, and no one's talking about this. I don't know why no one's talking about that part. So I think, again, I was mentioning in my other reads that there's a timeline thing. And I just can't see how they would have done an interrogation with her, because obviously that's going to be released. But I don't understand how if there's a mixed story. I mean, I just think she could be taken for endangerment of the child. But it is a tricky one if they can't tie her, but especially if she's mixing her story, like they need to tie her to that time frame in a way of seeing her there. Okay, so now let's just check something. Did the roommates have an idea? So this could be an idea of something fishy. This was going to be, actually, if you caught one of my latter reads, I said I was going to do a read on Rex Huerman. And one of the questions was going to be, did his wife know? Because I know she had an inkling. But no one sort of voted to have reads on him, because I wanted to say a few things about that and just read about it, though I don't know much about it. But I felt when I was asking myself, did his wife know? She did know. And I think just yesterday I saw that there was something saying he didn't live a double life. So I think it was indication that his wife or some of his family had an inkling, but I'm not sure. But I felt that. Queen of Swords, what were we asking? Did they know or have an inkling or an idea? And to me, this is a yes. This is a yes. Is the mother the landlord of those, like, is she renting out those rooms, like roommates? Is she like the landlord of that? I feel like because she was the landlord, they were a bit frightened to speak up. They were a bit stuck. They felt a bit stuck. So I wonder, because what happens with these cases is, like, for example, Rex, you're going to get people that are, oh, I dated him, oh, I saw him, oh, I was the taxi driver, oh, there's suddenly people just pile forward, true or not true. In this case, probably you might get some ex-girlfriends of hers, you might eventually get an ex-roommate or something, people starting to come through. But I do think they did have an inkling. I'm not saying that they were fully aware of what was happening, split the deck, not fully aware, but it would have been a risk to actually speak on it. But they had an inkling, and it was difficult because what I understand is Jen the kind of, like, I don't know if this is a house that has room that they're renting and the other rooms are being rented. I feel like Jen was kind of maybe the landlord and those rooms were rented out, something like that. And so it was a bit difficult for them to say anything and bring light to the situation. But I also feel that they did really have an inkling for it. And it doesn't mean that they knew to what extent, but something was not right, but they felt stuck in being able to say something, but they knew. Okay. What was one last question? Let's look at law enforcement. I do think their focus has been Stefan Sterns. All the work has been more or less Stefan Sterns to get it to this stage. So I think now, with whatever's not come out properly, and by the way, they had an easy time because he was caught on camera, wasn't he? So it was fairly easy to track him. And for her to be seen in the passenger seat, Madeline Soto, it means he didn't have like the dark coverage on his windows, the dark tinting. So yeah, law enforcement do have their eyes on Jen at the moment. They're trying to get a bit more on Jen. Look at that. I asked for particular cards, didn't have to make sense in a story. And I got 2 of the cards, but the actual 3 cards make the story as well. Law enforcement and justice focusing on the mum. So now she is a little bit in the focus. So we're going to have to watch out for what comes forward around that. Have I got time to check in on her energy as of today? Interesting, there's the landlord. She's in reverse. Ace of Swords. So we've got the Queen of Wands, we've got the High Priestess, we've got the Ace of Swords. There's a bit of bitterness here, okay? And I wonder if this is towards Stefan, towards the whole situation. A lot of bitterness here. And the High Priestess in reverse is not a good energy. It's someone who's keeping secrets. There's, you know, just a fear. There's a fear, but she's also... she's keeping secrets and she's keeping mistruths, and there's, with this, I feel like there's a hidden clarity that's being held onto here. So again, we're getting told very clearly that she's got some secrets here. How is she feeling? How is she feeling? I think the secrets are causing her to have a lot of anxiety. Sun is, again, the card is telling me yes as I get that out. Knight of Cups. This Knight of Cups came up, I think, in her energy last time. It's interesting. Lovers and Fool. And I wonder if she's got someone new around her. She's definitely got a choice of something new around her. There's someone in the energy of a younger male, and it might not necessarily be love, but he's being a support. Yeah, he's being a support to her. She's feeling the world on her shoulders as well right now, which we would say I think she's in this kind of energy. She's not mourned what's happened. Inner strength and the Seven of Wands. Yeah, just focused on really needing to fight, have the strength to fight her side of the battle right now. That is her focus. Can you see? Okay. Let me just check something on the timer because I want to ask something else. Okay, I think I might be okay. I haven't... I wanted to go through the timeline, didn't I, to see how planned out or how... I mean, he didn't plan this out, and I don't believe he's a person that's unalived someone before, regardless of what people say, because it just wasn't thought through. Okay, my timeline says 7:35, Stefan Sterns is seen at the dumpster. 7:50, Stefan Sterns car leaves, so that must be the leaves basically their apartment area or the garage, the garbage area, which is not far from their apartment. 8:10 a.m. his car is seen as at John Young Parkway. 8:19 the car returns to the condo. 8:31 the car exits the complex. So here, where was Jen? Did she get told that he'd dropped her? Apparently she said she was with him. She wasn't. 8:40 Sterns dropped off Madeline Soto off. Sorry, 8:40 is when we were told he dropped Madeline Soto off. Is that right? Because she starts school at 9. 9:16 the car passes the gas station. 9:40 a.m. the car is at the parking garage. I think that's when he lost his tire, which means maybe he'd dropped her off around 9:40 at that place without really any burial. And that to me says he's in a bit of a frantic, like, I need to get her out of the car. Is it? Because there's a point where he goes to, is it John Young, is that the Holiday Inn? He goes there to put her in the trunk and he's seen doing that. Can you imagine? And I know that because I took it down as a validation that she was in the trunk at some stage, not in the passenger seat and then dumped, which I got in my previous read. A lot of the time as well, watch the reads, check the comments and also description boxes. If you're a subscriber, you know I always mention description box. Anyway, 9:40 a.m. car is at the garage parking. 10:05 the car is near Osceola County. 11:48 the car is at John Young Parkway again. Is that when he puts her in the trunk? I think that's when he puts her in the trunk. 1:05 p.m. the car is at US 192 in Kissisi. I think, is that not supposed to be Kissimmee? I can just see the US subscribers having time of the life here. 1:12 p.m. car is at Old Hickory Road. That's where he dumps her. Car 1:20 is where he has that tire. 2:17 the car is at Old Hickory Road again. 2:23 the car is at 192. So that's Kissimmee. And 4:35 p.m. the car trash compactor. I don't know what that is. I just took like notes. I know that a lot of people have done like 3-hour videos and stuff because and then the night before I took a note of the time. So I also have notes from previously. 7 to 7:58:15. Sterns claims he and Madeline wake up. 7:35 to 7:45. Sterns claims they leave the house. 7:50. Sterns is spotted driving away from Madeline, with Madeline slumped in the car. 8:15. Jen claims she's woken by Sterns getting the dog's leash. She also reports hearing someone in the kitchen. Now the notes from the night before. 8:30, Madeline is dropped off at home from the birthday party. Then Stefan arrives at home. Jen arrives at 10:30. 11 p.m. Jen sends Stefan and Madeline to bed. 11:49, Stefan logs on to Telegram. That's weird. I mean, what was he doing on Telegram? What is that for? Anyway, so obviously it's got dark as we're doing this. Sunset, and I can't reach the light. So last question. I don't know if I really want this question. It's giving me anxiety. Look at that, it's giving me anxiety. Two of Swords. I don't know why I feel she feels like it's a Wheel of Fate. Again, as I say something, the card comes out to say yes. Interesting. So how does she feel towards Maddie? So how does Jen feel towards Maddie? Here we've got the energy of she's confused about all this and she feels like she is in a rock and a hard place. Because obviously she's got some secrets. She's got the angst of the unknown. She realizes there was a relationship there with Maddie who's a bit strange. Like it was her daughter. She was the mother, it was her daughter. Cups is love, but I don't see the love emphasized. I feel again the anxiety that the current situations really have focused, really working on this to liberate and get herself seen as not guilty is really her focus, even though we read on that and I asked in this separately, how is she feeling towards Maddie at this moment in time? So we'll do a separate read on that later as the case develops to see that. She does feel like she's left alone. I think she feels she's failed. She failed Maddie a little bit, especially within the home. Okay, she failed Maddie within the home. I think she recognizes that. She recognizes she's left all alone. She failed to save Maddie, and she was very much in more or less focused on her work, focused on trying to get an income, and not having the safe haven of a home that a mother would have. So she's starting to realize that. You can see her focus is, I am the mother, I have love for her, this is my focus, I recognize this. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next